think the biggest challenge is for Australian marketers, no matter what industry they're in at the moment, is in the next 6 to 12 months?
6 to 12 months. Well, that's interesting. Well, you know, the world's changing very quickly. I think the biggest issue that they're going to face, I think, is skilling up. I think whatever industry you're in, we're all in the entertainment business. I think we've all become channels. And what I mean by that is we used to be able to buy media space and essentially spam people with interruptive advertising, whether it be TV commercials or ads in magazines. But we're now in a technological age. We're going through essentially a digital revolution equal to the industrial revolution, where we don't need to sit and have our lives interrupted with advertising anymore, which means that all of a sudden we need to create content that will engage people willingly and voluntarily and enthusiastically, that they'll come to us actually seeking something from us. So when I say entertainment, it's not just throwaway, but it's about creating something that someone would come to without us, you know, forcing it down their throat.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge, because no one's skilled them up for it. And creativity is kind of, it's always been seen as a soft skill, but it's becoming critically important these days. And they didn't teach it in high school, they didn't teach it in university, they don't teach it in most corporations. And all of a sudden you've got people like IBM conducting surveys and finding overwhelmingly CEOs all around the world think creativity is the most critical skill for the 21st century. So I actually think that the biggest issue that marketers are going to face is actually the need to retool themselves and actually develop an understanding that you know, they're in a completely different era than the one they were trained for. And that's going to be, I think that's going to be confronting, you know, particularly for people who aren't digital native, people who have a particular way of doing things and learned a particular way of business, and that was really successful. All of a sudden, well, that's stopped working anymore. And I think that's going to be the biggest problem, is how do you skill up? How do you stay ahead of the game in terms of knowledge?